Morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Welcome to episode 100 of Question Time Live. Can't quite believe I'm saying that. Because when I set out with this idea, I couldn't think I'd be 100 episodes in. Still going strong as well. Not run out of energy for it yet. You're going to have to bear with me this evening. It's not quite gone to plan, in all honesty. They've pinned me into office today, which is not nice. Making me do admin work, which is quite frankly disgraceful. And I didn't actually get up to Fish House till gone 3:30. Hence why I'm at home and not in the studio, because I got bogged down there with everything I was doing, or carried away, should I say, because we was putting around with the fish. So I ended up scuttling through the door. I literally flung me pajamas on because I was piss wet through, and here I am. So there we go. I'm just also right now in the process of just dumping a couple of videos over. So, bear with me, because it's been a big Sakai week. And, I've got a bit of fish porn to share with you, to be honest. Absolutely. That was just madness yesterday. There's been a really, really cool video drop on the channel. Actually, you might have seen it already. Of the when I initially moved those Sakai fish into the pond that they're in at the moment, the one I went through yesterday. Just got a long time, because actually that video, just excuse me as well, I'm looking around the screen. There we go. That video was the first, and we've been sat on it for a long time, because I was actually trying something new, trying to shoot different angles, mix it up, do something a bit different. So as you do watch it, you might actually find that it's a little bit different to normal. Aaron, you've got to watch it at the end as well, because I've just realized he kept a clip in right at the end as well, where I didn't realize they were still filming. Quite funny. That like I say, actually, it's the first time yesterday I've touched that pond since that video, and my God, I've never in my life, size-wise, they're probably where I was expecting. So I was end up 33 to 37 cm, if I remember right. But I have never felt fish so heavy and dense at that age and size. It is ridiculous. The whole Sakai thing it's insane. I just can't stress it enough. Quality level there compared to last year. You'll hear it in the video when I spoke about it. You know, they had all the qualities. Probably where I suffered last year was the overall pattern level, which is where a lot of expense and value comes in. Folks, can you just let me know in the comments this is streaming through all right? Because I've weirdly, I've got super Wi-Fi at home. I don't rib me for that, but I've got my little icon showing up here saying that it's a bit unstable. So if you let me know, I'd appreciate that. And there were just the density. Oh, the wife's watching. She decided to talk to me on here, just not when I'm actually in the house. Prepare for some fun comments coming back there. Insane. So I've got a couple of videos to share, including one fish that won't feature on the new video that we've shot. Really cool one. And there we go, glitching a bit. Could well be because my son's upstairs as well, gaming and draining it off. So there we are. A little picture I'm going to transfer over as well, because we were trying some daring stuff with a drone yesterday, to say the least. What a place to have a domestic. Episode 100. Fantastic. A bit laggy. I don't think I can do much about it, folks. Sorry. Unless wifey, if you want to go and try and kick Arthur off his PlayStation, that'd be awesome. I'm sure it won't go down well. Oh yes, you've got it, Richard. You've got it, mate, and it's all there. Some people have done more than 100 hours, to be fair. I've heard that a few's watched it more than once, to be honest. Fair play. There's got to be some serious information sat there, to be honest with you. Right, let me see what questions we've got going on, or people we've got, to be fair. Actually, a few nice messages coming in. Appreciate that. Dog, hi, Ricky, and everyone watching. Congratulations on your 100th show, Ricky. Love watching them all. Big fan of all the Stoddart family. Fair play. Thank you very much. Paul Fletcher, good evening. Sword, 100, congrats. Huge thank you from Alberta, Canada. Wow, for all you have done here, passing along advice and knowledge and the sacrifice of your time for all those viewers. It's an absolute pleasure, and thank you for that. Ray, good evening. Perrin, evening, Ricky, episode 100. Thank you for all the help you give. It's game-changing. Appreciate that. Thank you. Wayne, happy 100. Thank you very much. Andrew as well. Honestly, it is very nice of you all, guys. When I set out on this, the only intention was because I was just pissed off with seeing all the shit advice circulating around, and I just thought enough's enough, and nobody from the industry really seemed to be stepping forward too much, and the gaps were, someone's going to plug them, and it was just to try and help out and just clear up all the shit that I thought was kind of recirculating out there, and hopefully I've delivered on that for you. Craig Stubbs, evening, and congratulations on 100, Ricky and team. Thank you. CPH Photography, what's up, Ricky and friends? Good evening. Marcus, good evening. Yeah, it's amazing how many people tune in every week as well for the small little industry that we are, really, in comparison to the big wider world. Terence, good evening, mate. Steve as well, I don't know if I put that up. Good evening. Yeah, if you were saying it was a bit laggy, unfortunately. I'm not at the studio. I'm not connected up. I will see about it. I've got everything cabled here. I've just not got this particular room, funnily enough. I don't know which socket it links to. Yeah, anyway, enough of me waffling. So, episode 100. I did say I was going to look to do something. I ain't got around to it, not going to lie. And I was thinking about it all today, but because I'm going to blame everybody in office for keeping me locked in there, my day vanished. What I am going to do, because I've got, over the coming weeks, there's going to be quite a few interesting things getting dropped. I should say in a few weeks' time, really. So I'm going to do a bit of a rollover. So consider this evening that there was going to be an amazing giveaway, but I'm going to roll it over into the next announcement that's going to be coming before long. So, yeah, I've got something quite cool for it as well. You will see at the time why I've chose to roll it over. So let's just wait and see, and forgive me for being shit on that respect, but also feel free to send all complaints to the manager at koiwholesale.co.uk, and it'll get to them all. Right, anyway, it is question time. Please feel free to get blasting some questions in anyway. Hopefully the internet will pick itself up. I've not got a clue what it's doing. Look, she's even tried to kick him off it. We always get mad with that one. It's Fortnite. There'll be parents out there that relate to this. He's in the middle of a match. That's what we get whenever it's bedtime. It's I can't, I'm in the middle of a match. Absolutely bonkers. So yeah, guys, come on, fire some questions in. What's Craig saying there? I'm a delivery driver and listen to these pods. I'm around taking in all the info like a sponge. Can't get enough of it. That's amazing, Craig. Thank you. Keith, yes, got the Sakai Tancho Sankey doing brilliant, getting some body on it, averaging 1 centimeter per week. Well up of it from JPN. Amazing stuff, mate. You bang on, if you're hitting a centimeter a week, you sort of really bang on point with that one. Spot on. Here he is, look. That's where your complaints need to go, guys. There you go. I'll actually, at some point, I'll just end up sharing his email so you can just send them all to him. If we stop doing any fun things, it's going to be the buzzkill management that I've put in place. So we can blame them. Many congrats on your 100th episode, Dave. Really appreciate that, mate. Yes, I am doing questions today. So if you're doing questions today, how do you calculate flow rate through UV units? Is there a formula relating to pond size and feeding, etc.? So the way I've always done it with UVs is just related to the overall pond flow rate. And roughly that is your best performance around having a turnover through it of once every 2 hours of whatever your thing is, and making sure the unit is quoted at a minimum of 10 watts per 1,000 gallons. That's it. That's always the quota. Works a treat. If you're passing more water than that through it, you will find that you'll likely, drop off a bit. So, yeah, that's it. It's a simple one, really. It's all to do with flow rate. You want your water passing through there. The slower, the better, really. It's not something you want. Just think about it. Like with filter meter, biologically, it's all about contact time. So the longer it can spend with the UV shining on it, amazing. If you're having problems with the UV and it's an older unit, obviously make sure, A, it's lighting up. I know that seems very basic, but from my shop days, you won't believe how many people miss that one. And then secondly, service them regularly. So a bulb are often quoted, although bulbs will light up for a long time, the maximum kind of capacity for doing the job is often 6 months. Now, if you think about that theoretically, if you've got a new bulb in spring, it should see you spring and summer. Realistically, you're not going to need it in winter. So the lower capacity, if it's a good bulb, will help you at that point. So you can change it once a year. But, you know, if for some reason you're somewhere and you're in strong light all the time, you need once every 6 months to keep everything working superbly. Now, that's for your standard UV clarifiers. UV sterilizers are a bit of a different beast, and those bulbs normally have a quota on them, to be honest, because they cost so much. I don't know that many people using UV sterilizers, and a lot of the other stuff out there as well now that go in the drum filters and whatnot, they will probably have quotas that you want to stick to as well. But the general kind of UV clarifiers that a lot of us have, that I use as well, once every 6 months, pond turnover, so the flow rate, you know, around once every 2 hours, you should be absolutely spot on with that one. Right, bear with me a moment. No. Oh, Ian's about. The banter's going to start now. Me and Ian's been having a good crack, to be fair, in a couple of the groups. Let's not. Cheer up, sorry, Ian. That's all I'm saying. No chance. No chance. Right, let's have a look, guys. Let's have a look. And I'm going to share one of my videos with you in a minute as well, because I've got them sat waiting here. And another picture that I've just got on, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I might not be able to get that on, actually. So I might just have to try and show you on my phone. Ricky, do you or anyone else find Kusori PP a bit weak? You shouldn't. It's I forget the proper word, but it's just PP is just a generic material. You get different grades of the crystals, but shouldn't be weak in that sense, because I don't believe they can kind of dilute the powder or muck around with it in any way whatsoever. So I shouldn't expect that. To be honest, it's generally Kusori PPI order just for convenience. So yeah, I have no issues. It's just like I've said in the past, getting the actual dosage is the real problem with that stuff. And that's going to really depend on your pond and the organic loading of it as well. Let's have a look. Free koi in relation, yeah, no, unfortunately, that's probably not going to be the one. I think what I've got to roll into this actually is a bit cooler than a free koi, to be honest with you. So I'm going to leave you all guessing on that one a little bit. I always blame my son's gaming. Yeah, I don't. Honestly, tonight this is the first time that's ever done that to me. I've got fiber to property here and all the proper mesh routers, the job lot. You see the geek side of me here, and yeah, it's letting me down, folks. Right, let's have a look. Hi, Ricky. I use Kusori pellets, say crude protein, but is that fish meal? No, crude protein is the measurement. It's the actual ingredient list you want to look at when you're actually analyzing the ingredients. That will be sat somewhere close or around those figures, and it's from there that you'll assess. You know, like I say, that list is generally ordered by percentage of ingredients, starting with the highest. And like I've said in videos, it should typically be fish meal. And now just coming back to your question there, no, protein, it's not. So just have a look on a different list there, mate, for the information that you need. Grey Fox, good evening. What's your goals for the next year in your business? Expanding greenhouse, more videos. Congratulations, 100 episodes. I enjoy listening every week. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Yeah, nice question. So there's always so much, to be honest with you. There's a lot, I think probably over the past, since about September, maybe last year, a lot done. I had to make a lot of changes in the team because bits weren't working. A lot of the time that kind of, I say it sits with me. I always put it back to me as I should do, but things weren't just quite working in a lot of areas like I wanted them to. There's a lot of personal development that as well, not forgetting that, you know, in kind of my business journey, I'm 34 years old. Do not start taking the mess, because I know my forehead tells a different story. But yeah, there's a lot, you know, in that sense, and having staff, a growing team, managing all that, it's all new skills I'm having to develop. And I'm quite, believe it or not, an insular person. So it's quite difficult at times. And when things, also the perfectionist, there's a lot of things I have to manage in myself at times. just so I don't drive everybody completely insane. And a lot's happened. A lot's happened because of YouTube, to be fair. When I started all this, you know, it's opened up different avenues, different directions, different opportunities and stuff we've tried. It's not quite worked as well. And it's sort of like at one point, right, let's clear the decks, analyze and start again, which behind the scenes is what's been happening, rebuilding the team up, which is going incredibly well at the moment, to be fair. Yeah, I couldn't ask for more with the way that's going, but that all just comes as well from learning, you know, learning to be better at recruitment, different interviewing techniques, finding the right people. List goes on and on and on with that. So it's all that stuff behind the scenes that you're never really going to see that's been going on. And yeah, it's getting there. So finally, a lot of stuff we've had, you know, there's exciting projects I've worked on, I've invested a lot of cash in that haven't seen it to fruition, because sometimes in a case it was just too much on my plate, physical, just exhaustion, and, you know, no more capacity for dealing and coping with this stuff. So now the people are in place, we're slowly starting to see some of those all come together. So I think possibly, you know, over the next 3 months, especially, hopefully you guys will start seeing a lot of that from the business side of it. And then, yeah, fish houses, again, it's just yet another project, but it's yet another project, which I've been spending a lot on technology based stuff behind the scenes. So then all of a sudden, you know, another thing, there's just the general upkeep and service of the facilities. Everywhere you look around, there's another job needs doing. It's a lot to balance, but the plan is there's some huge facility investment coming. Then plans have changed a bit because with the changing needs of the business, I knocked one greenhouse down a bit harshly, to be fair. Typical of me, that. But the plan is with that now, I've looked out the front and I just look at existing ponds and think they're not fit for purpose. We need that. So the plans are changing a bit, but finally really cementing. So I think there's a development out the front of the facility actually going to come first. The heating system was a big one this year outside, which allowed us to expand further and get the most out of them ponds. And it's looking to take that further again this year. I want showers in. The list is never ending. You know, there's projects and bits going on all over the place. So fingers crossed, it's continually moving forwards, and I hope to be able to share actually some of it with you at some point. I do like to have a lot of plates spinning, and there is a lot at the minute, but at some point it will all come together. But yeah, good question. And content wise, absolutely. So this is where my energy for this, well, I don't think will ever wane, because generally it's me just sharing what I love doing the most. And it's about execution a bit. We're still kind of learning and figuring out YouTube and bits and bobs, which I enjoy. But the channel is going really well, growing at a nice steady pace. But yeah, it's just wanting to deliver as much as possible and bring as much value for you guys as possible. So at the minute, Aaron, who I'm working with in the video, he's doing a phenomenal job for me. But I mean, even just yesterday, we had a superb day. And that's what actually you say that I'm not going to muck around trying. In fact, I might be able to. Just give me a second. Yeah, content wise, but just playing with the execution a little bit. And that's not for anything, because I know for a lot of you guys, it's the information in it. But for me, I like to think I'm doing the absolute best job possible. And then that's, like I say, playing with the execution a little bit. And yeah, we was up to all sorts yesterday with drones and GoPros and all kind of things, to the point where we was on a risk it all strategy with the drone, to be fair. Let me just see if I can get this to upload. Just bear with me a second. There we go. I've got it, I think, if the connection don't give up. Yeah, which is nice. So hopefully we're going to, and actually the direction I'm planning to go on in the next few months, to be honest, you always get from me my absolute biggest enjoyment. And this is the channels tend to go on like this. It's shooting from the hip, doing and with what I love the most, which generally fits into koi appreciation, raising, all the rest of it. Hence why you'll see so much on there. But I do realize the need and hunger out there for more of the keeping based advice. So we are going to steer the content in that direction. Again, just for maximum value for you guys and making the whole keeping side as enjoyable and easy as possible. That's it. So here we go. Right, let's see where that goes. There we go. Look. So that was indeed, if you can spot it, We had the drone flying in the greenhouse yesterday and very, very, very close to the sheet there, as you can see. Absolutely, honestly, that is a killer shot. So you're going to see this footage. We're playing with a few things, but I think probably in 2 weeks' time, tops, you'll see this footage come to fruition on the channel. And yeah, let's see. So hopefully it'll be a bit of a nice direction. So yeah, there we are with that one. Right, just comments stuff's flying in. Bear with me, folks. I will share one of my first videos with you in a second as well, which if it's a bit laggy might be a bit shit, but let's see. Alan, evening, Ricky, 100 up. Thank you. Right, just bear with me, guys. I need to get back in line with the comment thread. Football season's back as well this week, isn't it? Off to Old Trafford on Friday, which that performance could possibly decide how much I used that season ticket last year. Call me what you want. My God, it was bad last year. It's when you're looking at a 5-hour round trip to watch the shower shit there were at times. No, I've got better things to be doing. Right, here we go. Asking for a friend who's thinking of packing the hobby up due to his fish losing Benny. These were not cheap koi, but is there any particular indicator to see if the Benny will fall away? Yeah, absolutely. So it really depends how or what age he's buying at. I've actually mentioned, I had a bit of chat about this in the Sakai video I did yesterday, because even that pond, that was a pond of extremely valuable fish, and there's been fish in there, they've grown, they've lost colour. There was probably just over, I think, maybe 100, 110 fish in there altogether. I don't think it was any more than 10, but still, they've done it. And I was kind of getting the point across that it doesn't matter how much you pay for these fish. I have seen Tosai that between me and the breeder and everyone were absolutely drooling at its potential, saw no risk in any of that kind of area, comes out of the mud pond with no Benny on it. Just Tosai are strange creatures, although you can learn to read them and Nisai and beyond. And it's all looking at, you've seen me speak about it a lot, pigmentation level in the skin, making sure there's that pigment in the scale there to spread. And Sashi with Go Sankey, especially, if this is what we're talking about, is one of the biggest tools you'll ever have, because that's an indicator of what you've got in the deeper layers of skin, the elastic layer that's really going to stretch and grow with the fish, and basically indicating that not all of the colour is sat on the surface of the skin, because when that's the case, it just pulls apart. So there could be other, stress can be a trigger for colour loss. I sent one of my very, very classy NND male shower into a state of colour retraction through heat stress. When I moved it over winter, I moved it too quickly, because going into warmth generally won't cause any health problems, and it didn't. But my God, did it well, the colour nearly fell off completely. It's only the fact I kind of twigged it was that. Back right now, it's come back, but only probably 90%. It's still not to where it was before, and that's just my bad. Elements like that can cause it. Other than that, yeah, might just be picking the wrong fish. And like I say, what you pay for them, you can't, because there's too much shit in the market. There's too much mis-selling, of high quality, or people that just don't know what they're selling stuff as good fish or selling it as this. That is why you need to improve your own knowledge to the best that you can. Take price out of the equation, because it's a slippery slope if you do that. A fish in the market might be expensive just because a dealer's overpaid for it in an auction or something like that. It's still no indicator that it's going to be any good. It might be a very good fish at that moment. Like we know some koi show fish in Japan are very good for that moment, but don't really have a future. And if you try pushing it, we know it might be colour that will likely break up. So I think that's the best advice I can offer there is, yes, it might be the weight or the fish that they're picking, and you just need to dust that knowledge up. And all the videos are sat there on my channel. The amount I've spoken about Benny on selection videos is vast. So have a look through and brush that knowledge up is what I would say to that. Evening, buddy. Already 100. Seems like yesterday you started this adventure. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's the energy still feels the same. Tag along trip to Japan for the prize. That'd be a good one, wouldn't it? Right. Hang on a minute. I have a natural gas heater, direct heating pond water. Is there any suggestion of how to blend the heated water into the return flow so as not to create a hot spot in the pond? I would just say a heat exchanger, unless I'm missing something there in the setup. Obviously, that's what I've got. Heat exchanger. It can just be a coil or one of the physical units. I've got coils in filter chambers. I've got the heat exchangers units, which I've found to be way more efficient. Where you pass the hot water through one side and the pond water the other. So yeah, I'm not familiar with the exact setup there, to be honest, but that is in essence what you're wanting. Feel free to give me some more information there, buddy, in case I am missing something. Ooh, West Brom Koi, good one. Good evening, all. In your opinion, Ricky, why are we seeing such an influx of bacterial issues within the hobby? Is it solely down to poor husbandry, or is it more fish-related, place of purchase? Yeah, I don't think, from what I'm learning, I don't think this is new. I think possibly awareness of it is becoming more. It's probably just like the old debate, really, about mental health with humans. You know, is that on the increase, or is it just that now there's more awareness? I think it's now that there's more awareness. So, yeah, in all that said, it's hard to say. I mean, husbandry can be, for sure. I think you've got a mixture of everything you're saying there. There's a lot of places, you know, you see and you just know there is only two ways. You create the problem in your pond yourself, or you bring it in. So it's just solving it is the problem. And a lot of this can really drag on. This is why I say it, and I'll keep saying it. If you ask me the choice, if you was going to get KHV or a bacterial problem, I'd pick KHV, because at least it'll be a final, you know the end result, it's done, whatever. These bacterial problems can go on and on and on and on, and you can keep feeding it as well. You think it's over and you make the mistake, then you get all giddy and introduce a new fish and it wasn't quite over, so then you flare the whole thing up again. Absolute nightmare, to be honest. So yeah, I'm not going to go too in depth on it. Again, I've got content on this podcast and bits and bobs around, but I really don't think it's anything new. I think it's just a big problem in the hobby, and it's a very difficult one to treat because the real help for all this is hidden behind veterinary stuff, which does end up costing a lot of money. The one thing I will say to it quickly is that sometimes, you know, compared to the cost of koi, those amounts that you will be looking at for vets is very, very insignificant. Even just based on what an average collection would probably cost. So yeah, tough one, but feel free to say you'll find plenty of content on the channel and on the Koi Talk channel for it as well. So yeah, fingers crossed one day. I don't know what will be the outcome of that, but hopefully with awareness then becomes, you know, more information talking about it. But prevention really is the best thing with bacterial disease. It absolutely is. Hi, Ricky. I wonder what breeder you would recommend for a Deutsch shower, please. Yes, Heroy or Shinoda, to be honest. And I would probably more swing to the Shinoda, Heroy route. The reason I say that is the real good stuff at Shinoda is so few and far between. That is a reality. He seems to keep a lot back. Both of them on their day can make an absolute worldie. So it's a hard split, but I've got a lot of love for Heroy Koi Farm, and yeah, for me, probably I see more quantity there. So I think your chances of getting a better fish for a decent value would come from Heroy over Shinoda, to be fair. Oh, dearie me. Ian, that Shiro's getting further and further away, mate. Lisa, hi Ricky, quick question. Do you think there ever be a woman koi keeper talk one day for all the women out there that keep koi? Be good to hear from some ladies. Yeah, so I mean, it is crazy, right? I'm going to do something now because I get more and more information, to be honest with you, through all the channels. Sorry, nose is itching like crazy. All the channels that we're on. So the YouTube channel, if I just delve into the analytics, tells us a bit, because it is pretty scary, to be honest with you. Let's have a look, audience. So yes, the gender split on the Koi Wholesale YouTube channel, 94.1% is male and 5.9% female. Pretty crazy, really. I couldn't tell you why that is. It's just a very, very, very male dominated industry, seemingly. Yeah, Lisa, shed some light. Feel free to join one week as well. Drop me a message, spread the love. But I can't tell you why it is. It always seems to have been the same as well, to be honest with you. So never know. Let's wait and see on that one. Neil, well done on the 100th episode. Being in the hobby 30 years and still learning stuff every week. Amazing to hear. Ricky, what is your favorite breed of koi? Oh, God, I hate that question. Tancho Showa for me. I hate it because my default answer is always, and this is genuinely because you'll probably see from the knowledge that I share, anything when it's good. Really is. Any koi on it with a good example, I believe, can wow anybody. I actually think that's the reason some varieties just don't get any exposure. Take Shisui, for example. And this is why I think this ties in. People often say, I don't like Shisui. I've got a Shisui at my place. I've got a few Shisui actually at my place that when people see them, if they say they don't like them, I've got to look at you very, very vacantly and wonder why not. Because they're just exceptional examples. And when you see exceptional examples of any variety, I think they'll wow you. But of course, you'll always have your favorites, which is fair enough. I think for me, it always seems to default back. I do absolutely love Asagi. Now, sorry, my nose is going crazy. Asagi had been one from the very beginning. I remember my dad's first Japan trip back in 2000, I think it was. This is a good story. So back in 2000, it's at the house I grew up in. That's the one. I still remember on the proper old landline, waiting for the call, which didn't come every day because the calls to Japan were absolutely extortionate. And it was like, you need to get some Asagi. I was already annoyed at him because he'd not taken me at that point when I was 10. Shocking. But and I still remember that to this day, he bagged 3 from Marido of all places. And I can honestly, the picture right now, I know I've got it somewhere. They were absolutely awesome. And I've had an obsession with them ever since, which I'm living that out this year. I've finally got my batch of Otsuka Asagi, 270 odd pieces I've got swimming around at the minute doing spiffingly. So yeah, they always come back. Shirotsauri seems to be one, I can never get away from. If I unleash that, the place ends up infested with them, to be fair. So recently, Sankey's been right up there. Sankey's been getting out of hand quite a lot. You name it. I'm into it. Anything that crops up. And this is why you see the new stuff, because I'm happy to delve in head first. The Shunku thing, I just find it interesting. I was straight there with the golden corn because for me, I want to try this new stuff. I want to learn about it. I want to enjoy it. And that's why I see enjoyment in so many varieties. There's no kind of stuffiness, stuck upness with any of that with me. Elitist, okay, it's just for the love of doing it. Any variety, you want to learn it, you want to muck around with it. And that's why I like the guys who are producing this new stuff all the time, because there's always a story behind it. There's something new to learn. And actually those varieties I find the best because you've a real chance of genuinely beating the breeder with that stuff. Golden corn and these Shunku at the minute. I mean, I'm sat on that many white looking ghost koi from this Shunku line, but they're doing it because they've come from Asagi. So I know that the yellow color comes up. I've watched an example at his farm go through that journey to the amazing example I've shared on a video. And now that's where we are. I know what we need to do. So you sit on them and there's a chance one of those might come exceptionally good. And that for me is just amazing fun and a reason to enjoy that variety. The elitists out there look at them and take the piss and go, oh, they're just shit. No, they're not. There's something there in them depending on how you want to enjoy the hobby. And, we do all the other stuff, the Go Sankey, all the rest of it, take that very seriously. But it's nice to have a break away from it and have a different challenge. And that's just what happens with the breeders. They do all the day-to-day stuff, but you see so many of them now doing other stuff. Even we drill that right back to the Sakais and Dainichis. Dainichi, the Botan stuff. You go back 10, 15 years, the thought of Dainichi having Black Zeus and Ginrin Karashi going, all that stuff would have been unthinkable. And now look where it is. Sakai, Silver Fox, the Mango line, all the rest of it. It's where it is. I just find there's certain groups of hobbyists, I think in most, countries outside of Japan as well, that can't seem to change their mindset from the hobby being about two colours, which is just boring, if you ask me. And I think it's really important as well, to really diversify that knowledge and learn as much as you can about all of it. So gone off on a major tangent there with that question, but good one. I like that. But I am going to default back to anything when it's good or interesting. Koi Boy, hello Rick, congratulations on your 100th episode. Quick question, what's the best media to use for submerging? I feel Alpha Grog is a bit crap. Alpha Grog is, I've got no time for Alpha Grog. I've served my time with that. I was actually telling Matty, who works in the fish houses, some stories about when we used to have that media. I hate the stuff. I think it's a bacteria trap. You've got a higher chance with that kind of system of having bacterial problems as well. Because of the crevices and how shit stores inside it. It's got some quite big gaps for catching some quite big solid waste in it, and the kind of filtration Alpha Grog would sit in as well. You look at that compared to a fluid bed. It's one thing I love about the fluid bed, and especially how it's designed in the Nexus. There is no debris accumulation. The amount of problems I've seen over the years, bacterial, come from like chamber filters, where people didn't clear the bottom of the chambers properly. It just turns sulfuric, it turns nasty, anaerobic, it's toxic. No joy for it. And as well as that, I just see this sort of stagnant, even when it's aerated, no movement in there, stagnation, versus the hungry fluid bed. It just makes sense. It's there bubbling away. You've got that protected biofilm in the middle. You're not interfering with it manually at any point, drying it out or anything like that. And as well as it, the contact drop any dead biofilm is dislodged, knocked back into the system and cleaned out by the filter on the next pass. So for me, a fluid bed is the core of any pond. And yeah, the absolute best way to go. But make sure they're well designed. Seeing that too much these days in these combi drum systems, I've got no time for the things. These great big air discs in the middle that just tend to push all the media to the side. Biochambers, fluid beds don't need that kind of flow. They're actually driven better by big, slow, steady bubbles that produces enough energy to create the churn, so the steady churn in the chamber it needs. The absolute chaos of knocking it 6 inches out the water from these massive air diffusers planted in the middle, it's crazy. You want a nice, steady, equal bubble with no flat spots to get the absolute best performance from it. Oh, there we go. Back to the Benny one. We live close in a very soft water area. Could this over a period of time make koi lose Benny? Yeah, well, yeah, no is the answer. UV potentially could. If you go with some of the theories out there and certain groups, soft water apparently is the absolute best thing for Benny. I would be looking more towards UV as well and light. This is just massive. I've just seen it again. I've had a pond. I've had drum problems with it. So it's literally not been running for 10 days, pretty much 7-10 days, something like that. And it's gone absolutely pea green. It's just mad. I've still been feeding it, despite there being I've had a little bit of fresh water going in every now and again, but it's just a very, very small amount of food. And yeah, I've got it running now. It started clearing slightly. Those fish come up to the surface, and my God, I can see him by this skin level in every aspect has just gone off the scale. Sumi coming up despite the water being red hot. It's tying into all the theories that I've got around UV. And again, which will eventually form a lot of new content, because I think a lot's sat here. I'm not saying that is the problem, but it certainly could, not be helping. And all that, or possibly diet. A shit diet might also impact the Benny. But I think we need to be looking first towards the fish, possibly, and the fish that are being selected, which I can't see, unfortunately. So it's hard for me to really shed complete and utter light on it. Hi, Ricky. Have you ever thought of doing live koi auctions? Well, Mark, feel free to take a look back on the channel. Because as well as hopefully inspiring all of you hobbyists out there, I think I've inspired a lot of the industry to up the game as well, to be honest. And yeah, you should probably have a look where a lot of those live auctions actually started, mate. And that's just tied back to what I spoke earlier. You know, ultimately, in the end, we stopped because I wasn't happy with the process and how a lot was working. And yeah, who knows? We might have a return with some of that stuff in the future when I'm happy that, you know, the level of service I expect with things can be met and done. But yeah, feel free to have a look back on the channel. I think you'll be able to sit through and watch quite a lot of interesting auctions, buddy. And Miller, hi Ricky, I was wondering if you supplied any of the dealers in the US. I watch most of your YouTube videos and would love to be able to get hold of some of the fish that you showcase. Yes, not yet. I've got enough on here right now and bits in Japan, but sit tight, and you never know. You never know. Yeah, watch this space. Any news on LED lights? That's one that has slipped the list so far this year, but I am going to be getting back round to that one soon. Keith, let's have a look. It's tough letting others take the reins, yet alone funding trustworthy people who share similar values. Yeah, it is, Keith. Honestly, it's been probably one of the, in business, the biggest journeys I've been on, employment. I've got to say, I realise I can't achieve everything I want to achieve without people. That's an absolute given. But it is a skill. Recruiting is a serious skill to learn, and yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Just hopefully these new, I don't want to get political, but I've got to say the thought of these new labour laws that might be getting introduced do, as an employer, frighten the life out of me. But yeah, fingers crossed we don't actually see that. Eden Koi Pond, always a breath of fresh air to hear someone high up in the industry talk about the things they've got wrong and openly speak of mistakes. Appreciate that, buddy. And you probably found that I'm a pretty open book with all this, to be honest with you. You might actually find often people don't ask the right questions, so or the same questions, but I don't really skirt very much. I see a good one coming up here. Love your honesty on TikTok. I've got to say, folks, I am absolutely loving TikTok. It seems to be a very different platform, and for some reason, I feel very, very at ease with just being me completely on there. And yeah, believe it or not, I mean, if you heard how much I F and Jeff on a daily basis, it doesn't often come through on here. But yeah, I, for some reason, feel very relaxed because I think I know TikTok is that kind of platform as well. So if you aren't on TikTok, it is a great app just in general. From social media stuff, it's probably what I spend the most time kind of browsing on because I find it quite enjoyable, and I'm enjoying it on there. So do look up the Koi Wholesale TikTok account and hit the follow button. Right, there we go. Well done on your 100th live. Fabulous show. Thank you. Oh, here we go. Right. On that note, the Sakai Tosai looked amazing the other day. Now, forgive me if this video, because these actually stream from my computer straight through here to you guys. So, and yeah, also, thank you very much, guys. Just close to it in 200 people tuned into the live, which is amazing. Right. So, well, where should we start? I've got a net full and I've got one particular fish that just mentalist. Let's start with the net full. I think it really, really sets the tone. So, right, just bear with me. Let's see if this works. There we go. So this was, yeah, I can't remember at which point I filmed this, to be honest with you. So average size on there, 33 to 37 cm now. Every one of those fish is individually certificated as well, which is a nice touch. Mix of all three Gosanki as well, which is nice. Oh my God. I mean, honestly, you can see the power in the bodies is absolutely bonkers. The skin's exactly what you're going to expect of a breeder like Sakai or Dainichi, all the rest of it. But it was just the bodies, you know, the body power they're already showing. I can't remember getting these to this point like this with last year's batch. And as I was moving them, like I say, the weight, I should have weighed a few, the weight and density of them was just ridiculous. It's just power, muscle. Yeah, bonkers. Now, interestingly, a little hack here that I'm going to share, and this is really, really, you know, I think for the rate of growth, when you're trying to nick every little bit as well, those, believe it or not, are still being fed Saki Akari small pellet, so 2 to 2.5 mil even at that 33 to 37 cm. Because one thing I think a lot of people forget is koi actually aren't that good at chewing. So what we that small pellet just increases the surface area for digestion. It's that simple. 100 grams of that food will cover a lot wider area, and it speeds up the process. And now even like the super batch of NND Shiros, that if Satch is still watching, he's never going to get his hands on. Those are still also, they're hitting that kind of size, 30, 35 at the minute. Looking phenomenal, Satch, by the way. Bodies, wow. And yeah, they are exactly that. Just sheer power, you can see it, and they're still on small pellet as well. I don't know what point I'm going to change it, because it just works. The NND Kohaku that I was growing, also the big ones earlier this year, big toe side, they were on small pellet, I think, up until about 40 cm. It's yeah, absolutely incredible. So little hack for you there, guys. I know it's hard if you've got a mixed pond, but if you've got to grow on, don't jump to the bigger size pellets too quickly. Right, second fish up. So after all that, this little fish here, I remember him buying it in the auction, just wowed me. I knew it looked a little bit smaller in its body set. There's a high chance it's going to be a male fish, but you've seen what I can do with them as well. Let's wait and see. But it was struggling just to keep up with the pack. I was worried it might not do it when I moved him to the big pond. And it's actually not let me down. So this is the only fish under 33 cm that's gone in. It's at 30, so it's not actually too far behind. And I had one like this last year, which has actually turned out to be the best fish. When I isolated them in a separate pond to move them away from the bigger fish, they caught up, and in the end, they really caught up. So it was just giving them the right opportunity that they needed. And yeah, this Sankey was that one. And let me just share it. You'll see exactly why. It is so technically good in every area. Benny, I mean, look at the technicality of the pattern as well. It is flawless. The balance, we've got Subo, Sumi, Kiwa, pretty much almost to die for at this age. The Sashi is the perfect depth across every Dan. We've got the Odame at the back in the pattern as well. It is just absolute. It's a dream, and I'm glad it's catching up. So it's staying in that pond for now with the others, and it will likely be as they reach Nisai at some point that I'll be able to start catching it back up a little bit when I get a bit more pond space to potentially separate it a bit. But no worries for me where I'm going to eventually take that piece. But look at the Benny, even it's popping, but there's still so much pigment. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable fish. And yeah, for some reason, my warning light for my internet's gone as well. So Boyo must be off the PlayStation. Well, there we go. Yeah, mental piece. I just can't say enough or have enough superlatives to talk about that farm. It's mad. It's mad. If you've not got a Sakai fish in your collection, it's worth, even if you've got to break the bank a little bit to get one, absolutely well worth it. So the same for me, when you're having them, you're looking at them going, my God, the amount of other fish I could buy for the same, it's mental. So yeah, but you want them fish. They're just different, absolutely different. And one thing not to fall for out there as well is it's Sakai bloodline. Because yes, there will be some characteristics. So many breeders now use Sakai. God, I'm just trying to scroll back to where I was in the comments as well. That's mental. There we go, I think. Yeah, it's just not the minute they come, it's diluted blood because it'll have to be crossed with something more than likely. It's not the same as having the pure Sakai lineages. Like I say, there will be characteristics, don't get me wrong, that come through, but it's not the same. It's not from the breeding program that Sakai works so hard to ensure the traits are so consistent in all their fish. Leo, Ricky, I had a bad experience with FMG, which was in date, dosed right, and all of my fish went down. Some have suffered like burns. Some of my Kohakus seem to have burns on the Sumi orange patches. Yeah, that could be a few things, Lee, to be honest with you. Normally FMG, I mean, did you have any salt in there? It's normally okay if it's a premix you've bought, which you have, if you're calling it FMG. Normally kind of 0.3, even 0.4% salt. It's not really a problem. I've used that quite safely in the past. Maybe something else in your water it's cocktail with. I don't know the full experience, full history, mate, to be honest with you, on that one to really shed any more light on it. But I have had it in the past as well, where some particular brands of chemicals have done it. If you mix it, you want to be a little bit more careful. So yeah, tough one. I don't really know, like I say, your full history to really comment if there's another potential cause, but all I would say is for your recovery, which is probably most important now, salt will help you. If you've got a heater, the warmer you get the water, the better that will be. 24, 25. And if you use 0.5 to 0.6% salt for a couple of weeks, that will really aid the whole recovery there, mate. You want to really avoid needing to use any more chemicals, although acroflavin may actually be useful in that because it's quite soothing for something like that. So that's the lad's cap. I mean, come on, Alan, Jesus. Sankey was great. Now Becco with great Sumi. Yeah, that is one of the fallbacks, Nigel, isn't it? At the end of the day, I mean, especially with them Sakai fish, for me, I always know if it's a Sankey gone to pot, there's a chance of getting an absolute banging Becco. Because a Becco with a Sakai body and Sumi is not a thing to, yeah, to ignore. Colin, you say sashi for Benny, but what's acceptable? 2 or 3 scales deep? That really depends on the Benny type, Colin. Normally 1 scale is the real ideal depth, but thicker, more intense Bennies can often go a little bit deeper. What's more important than the actual depth is the consistency. So if across every Dan, every part of the pattern, you want the same depth, whether it's 1 scale, 2 scales, 3 scales, you're starting to push it, but 1 or 2, if it's the same consistency, it bothers me less. If you've got one area that's 3 scales and the rest is kind of 2 scales deep, then you're in trouble, because the likelihood is the 2 scale element will refine and tighten over time, but the 3 scale part will always stay as it is, and that there's no real fix or workaround with that one, unfortunately. Oli, nice question. Evening all. How important is the GH? Never test it. You're never really going to have a problem with GH, and it's just not that relevant. And what is the ideal range of the TDS? Don't get involved in TDS. Don't test it. Don't waste my time as well. You've seen my water. I was actually debating this at the farm the other day. We should do it just for a laugh to see if I can make a TDS meter explode. Yet my fish grow like stink and the skin looks fantastic. So hopefully there's your takeaway from that, Lee. Don't stress yourself out, mate. Rob, if a few koi are showing new low quality Benny after 20% colour food after 3 weeks, do you stop feeding it? That's a bit of a tricky one, that, Rob. So new low quality Benny, that's the kind of thing here where I feel like I need a picture to understand where we're coming from with that one. 20% colour food is going to have a slow impact, and that depends on what colour food it is. If it's sake, it's going to, oh, there we go, he said it underneath, sake colour. Yeah, so 20%, it's not a huge mix. After a few weeks, you will see a slight impact, but what colour food will not do is bring back Benny that's failing. If Benny's failing, colour food won't bring it up. Colour food is only there to enhance, you know, so it will only help develop and progress colour and support it as well at times when it needs support. If it's failing, it's going to fail anyway. So if that's what you're feeding it for, mate, that fish will probably be a write-off if it is failing, but feed it to help support the others. That should be the main reason. Dave, if you were building a 100th episode celebration pond and filtration system, what design would you build? Yeah, so interestingly, I can't remember if I spoke about this last week, but the whole drum filter thing for me, which is probably where most people expect it to go, the reason I look at this is it's quite easy, right? And I fall into this trap. This is what I was talking to one of the team about. I still, even me, with the experience that I've got, fall into the trap now of thinking, oh, can I do it without a drum filter? I question myself. Yeah, I walk into the greenhouse with the 1,200 gallon ponds, and I've got ponds where last week I pulled over 100 shunku out, which was sized 27 to 33 cm. I mean, do I need to say anymore? Those ponds have got a single bottom drain, they've got a brush chamber, they've got a fluid bed. That's it. Don't get me wrong. Water clarity wise, yeah, it's not great, but it could be. The fact I've got that many fish and that amount of food and change very little water, I could fix that just through changing more water. That would do that. But how those fish come out, the mucus layer was immaculate. I could tell that from the feel, the shine, the body volume level, you know, and even up until that point, they were feeding incredibly well, aggressively. And that's through how I use what I've got. I think knowledge is far more important than equipment. And if you can get your head in that mindset, you're going to save yourself a lot in this hobby. So with that in mind, you know, and with every piece of equipment, I look at the price, which I haven't done for a long time. I did when I was on holiday, and I was blown away to see that a combi drum system was like $3,500. Honestly, what is that all about? And I sat and looked at that and went, well, for that, I know for a fact I could probably buy 2 Nexus 300s and some other equipment for the same price. If you ask me which I'd take, hands down, no hesitation, I'd take the 2 Nexus 300s, because that straight away is capacity enough for 600 litres of media. That means on a decent sized pond, I could run 2 bottom drains and 2 independent system lines, which just makes sense. One ever goes down, you've still got another, but that's not the main reason. You've just got independence, you've got drains, you know, that you're in full control of. Yeah, makes sense to me. But every piece of equipment, I look at a drum filter, right, what is it actually doing for me? Well, it's removing waste from the water body on a continuous basis. I don't give a shit about automation. Again, there's ways out there of doing that and faffing around if that's the real thing. But for me, the big thing is it's constantly removing waste from the water body, which helps. But again, I've kind of disproved that, because the ponds I'm talking to you about, the 1,200 gallon ones, they're serviced once, twice a week at most, you know. But then that same concept the breeders do in Japan using a 4-inch standpipe, purge once daily. If I increased purging the drains on those 1,200 gallon ponds to once daily, I know I'd see even better results. So you've really got to look through all this, look through the hype, the marketing material, the negative voices that will be hammering in your head going, you need a drum filter, you need a drum filter, you can't do it without. It's bollocks. The showers, again, you know, you look at that and I look at people with a stainless. I mean, that depends on your garden, don't get me wrong, but you pay all this money for a stainless. There's no benefits to a stainless shower. But then when I see people, again, I need to try it really before I fully comment on this, but I know what will be the case. All this money for BHM, when in reality, the true action of a shower is all about the flow, and it's about it degassing. So just to share that as well, you know, the big showers that I've got, yeah, biologically sound, there's a shitload of media in them. It could be anything. Obviously, you want maximum capacity, so something fairly porous is a great move. But if you smashed up house bricks and put them in a shower, smashed enough water over them, you get a good effect. You'd get biofilm growing. Let's not forget biofilm grows on every surface in your pond. It's not just your filter, every bit of pipe. This is why new pond syndrome causes so many problems, because you are relying on what's in the filter at that point. It's got to establish on the walls, inside the pipe work, absolutely everywhere. And yeah, with showers, it's more the concept of the degassing and what it can get off the water. Biologically, it's relevant. So long as there's something in there, you make the most of it. But then you've got breeders like Sakai who are just using empty showers just to get that degassing effect, because that's what we know we really want. This week, because it's been so warm, oxygen's been a problem for me. I'm really managing it right now. And everywhere that's got the big showers on, just a simple thing, taking the lids off. Yeah, it creates a bit of a mess because I've got water splatting around. But honestly, the smell difference in the greenhouse, because it's getting so much extra gas off the pond, it's making a huge difference to the fish behavior. So again, it doesn't matter that really the material, the media that goes in them, it's the concept, and you can come up with that concept loads and loads of different ways. But that's just where it comes down to knowledge. So to really answer your question, Dave, like I say, the system idea I'm floating around is a mixture. To be honest, for me, perfection, I see a sieve as being the middle ground. For the simple fact of, I think it's so easy just to go and clean one of them off. And it's holding waste. It's holding the heavy waste that does need to be out of the water. Anything that passes through there, bearing in mind, it's generally 300 micron. You can get 150 micron screen upon request for them if you wanted to. that then is the food that the biological filter will eat and deal with. It's not heavy waste. You know, the heavy waste will be held out the water, ready to wash off. Fantastic. That's what we want. And then fluid beds, core part, and showers. If I get those three, I think I'm absolutely killer at that point. And it's all then about making sure I've got the right size biochambers, right size of media, and correct flow rates all over, and looking more into the oxygen side of things. Oh, folks, I cannot believe, honestly, there's so many comments and stuff on there. Sorry, right, I'm going to keep going for a little bit anyway. I'm at home, so no doubt if I push it too far, if you see your wife come in and scream at me, yeah. Right, let's have a look. Evening, Ricky. Evening, all. Congrats, Ricky, on reach 100. Thank you. Any advice to bulk up a skinny chag? Suspect he lost weight after 2 or 3 bouts of cost you. Yeah, that can happen. It can really do some damage. He's put on length, but he's skinny. I've pretty much every Sakai variation known to man. Currently on growth, unheated. So the likelihood is it might have done internal damage to the point where it might not actually recover any weight. Or the real thing is it might need some level of isolation to really give it every chance, like I've spoke about with other fish. So, you know, in a less competitive environment. And yeah, it's probably all I can give you on that one. It might just be that internally it's a bit knackered. Hopefully, if it's healthy and feeding, that's a good sign. But sometimes they just go too far and there's a point of no return where it just really struggles to get on, especially if it's an older fish as well. They'll find it a lot harder to recover weight, unfortunately. What parasites will PP eradicate? A bloody lot of them if you get the right dose. If you get the right dose, it'll wipe flukes out. It's just how far you like taking the koi to the edge. But generally, Trichodina hates the stuff. You can kill a lot of the single cell stuff, again, if you get the dosage right. It can kill Costi. It has done in the past, Chilodonella as well. And like I say, flukes. What it won't touch is white spot. No chance with that. You need something formaldehyde based to really do the job with that one. Luke, will Koi Talk be returning? I enjoyed the read. Stay tuned. I did speak about it next week. I'm not giving too much more up on that one, but all that work I speak about behind the scenes is rectifying and getting some of that stuff ironed out. But let's see where we go with that one. I'm a girl. Yes, you are. You're one of that small number in there. Evening all. Congratulations, Ricky, for 100 episode roll on the next 100. Absolutely. We're definitely going to get there. Definitely. She's tuning in tonight for the big 100. Darren, I have a Tosai Shinoda Deutsch Sankey, which the Benny is orange more than red. Will this darken to red with age or stay orange? Yeah, you can get that with Deutsch where they stay a more orangey hue, unfortunately. You'll get it with some normal Go Sankey as well. Without seeing it, I couldn't comment, Darren. Is it in full daylight? Has it been inside? I need a bit more information there on that one. But sometimes you do get a Benny that has a naturally orange hue to it, and no matter what you do, you won't really change it. YouTube skew is predominantly male as a whole. Heard this from Jordan Peterson. Oh, fair enough, we'll leave that one, although I do follow Jordan Peterson. I think he's a pretty impressive bloke, to be fair. Wow, not many ladies, yes, but we'll join and gain from the knowledge you have. Thank you so much. Hopefully we might get some more ladies. Fingers crossed. Surely you can't mean Becco, Ricky. Sorry, I'm not following that conversation, mate. Oh, there we go. That's the variety one, though. Asagi first and Akamatsuba second. Yeah, again, I mean, an Akamatsuba from Otsuka as well. Wow, that's a thing to behold. Used to do a lot of business with your old man. It was great to see you with your son. Took me back to seeing you with your old man. Yeah, fair. I was actually weirdly the office where they've locked me in today. I've got a lot of the old pictures and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's just going to be a trip down memory lane for me. Feel free to let me know in comments if you'd like to see some of that stuff, and maybe I'll start pulling some of it up, a few old pictures and whatnot to share here on Question Time. Completely agree. Koi are emotive. I don't care what the variety is. I just love a koi that makes me go, wow. Yes, exactly, mate. Deutsch Kagani Chiba. Speaking of those, you might have seen the Miyatora ones I shared on the channel on a journal video. And I was in that pond yesterday as well. Oh my God. Some of the Aragoki, Deutsch Ginrin, all that stuff, normal Ginrin Wagoi around Kagani Chiba. Wow. They're, yeah. I've removed, there was a big pack of dominant big fish in there, which are gone now. So hopefully they're going to go up to the next level over the next month. Right, just bear with me, folks. I'm going to try and get to the end, although the list keeps going. So I've shared my 2 videos with you as well, so we've got none of that left. Really pleased you like Asagi and Shisui. I've seen a couple of amazing Kajaku that took my breath away. Stunning fish. I appreciate many different varieties. Good to hear it. Yeah, Kajaku, I mean, they're a challenge. They really are. Got a couple of worldies swimming around at the minute, though, but not many. Joseph Edwards, when growing on Tosai in a heated pond, what ratio of Sakai growth color food do you feed, or do you alternate? No, I don't alternate. I go no more than 50-50 unless it's something I feel like I need to for whatever reason. That might be Deutsch or metallic fish, but generally 50-50 when it's weather like this, because Benny needs support. But if you've got a mixed pond, bearing in mind I have a lot of separation, so I can put the mixes in that I need. You know, around, if you go 25% color to 75, if it's sake, I'm not going to say it for any other fish because I know some color foods can really trash stuff. But if it's sake, I think that kind of mix, you won't have too many negative effects in a mixed pond that might have Shirotsuri or something like that. But yeah, no more than up to 50% anyway. That's an interesting question. Who produces the longest lived koi and what variation? I've got no idea, Nick, to be honest with you. That's not something. Someone was speaking to me about that, actually, about doing some kind of historic content. And I thought, it's got to be something that enthuses me. And I like a bit of the history, but for me, it's more when it delves into bloodlines and breeders and stuff that's a real relevance to what's in front of me. But yeah, sorry, Google might be a better one than me on that one, Nick, unfortunately. Susan Masanki's losing its Sumi spots. When will they come back? Susan, what age is it? That's the kind of question I need to know. If it's a new Tosai, it might be, you know, a lot of Tosai Sanki Sumi can fall off in this, you know, the harsh heat and everything at the minute as it's been. And then you can find that, you know, the following winter as Nisai, they might start, but then into 3-year-old and above is when the true Sumi actually starts coming back. It could just be the baby Sumi in a young fish that's dropped off, but be patient. It often does. And no, so I wouldn't say it's 50-50 either. It really depends. Again, I need more information on that. It's hard just to generalize. But with baby Sumi, if that's what it is, the likelihood is it will come from an age for a lot of them for it to start showing the signs again and then progress and build properly year on year from there. Phil, Telfer Koi Pond, how you doing, mate? Like most people in here tonight, I've listened to you from the beginning, and week after week, I listen and learn more and more and more. It's an absolute pleasure to listen to you. Thank you. Pleasure, Phil. And got to say, mate, I do enjoy tuning into a few of your videos, mate, as well, when I'm having a quick browse. Obviously, now I've watched one, they keep popping up, so I'm keeping an eye on you, mate. Yeah, right, just bear with me. Let's see where we've got to. So if all the Sumi goes, does that leave me with a Kohaku? No, absolutely not, because the Sumi's still there. The likelihood is it will come back at some point, whether it comes back to the fullest variation. But again, Susan, a bit more information helps with that one. Hi, Ricky. With he and I presume Benny, are they differences? And why are he, sorry, not called Benny, sorry. Forgive me with this. This is going to really evade my Japanese skills. None of them are actually the proper name for red, because that's aka in Japanese. And just like with Sumi, actually, Sumi is the translation for ink, because kuro is the proper Japanese word for black. Benny is something to do with shine or whatever it is. And he, I can't even remember, to be honest with you, but they are interchangeable terms. Japanese language is quite complex in that sense, with dual meanings and stuff like that going on. And there is literally a koi language as well. Some words we use in that, you kind of throw them out there, regular Japanese, and you just get an absolute blank stare. But again, I think that's the information that's generally widely out there in glossaries and stuff like that. You'll be effing and jeffing when you watch United, mate. Hey, who knows? Who knows? I'm going to give it a chance anyway. Another platform, so yeah, absolutely. And people can't get enough, mate. I've learned to try and appreciate what koi are in front of me instead of being closed off. Yes, amazing, mate. I think it's important to really just broaden, you know, your mindset to stuff. And even if you don't like something, try and learn to appreciate it for the sake of your hobby. You know, I hate that when a good fish just gets dismissed because of someone's personal preference to it. You know, you don't say that shit just because you don't like it. You say, yeah, I really get that, or I don't get that, you know, whatever it is, but I get that. It's just not for me. You know, there's plenty of different ways stuff can be phrased at times. Are we getting towards the end? Let's have a look. Keith's getting a lot of love for his channel tonight. Absolutely amazing. I've watched some of your videos, Keith, as well. So, yeah, keep it going, mate. And hats off to everyone out there, you know, putting content out for fellow koi keepers to enjoy. It's you know, nice that there's so much out there for people. Dean, congratulations, Rick, on 100th anniversary. I'm looking to get an air source heat pump. What would be your recommendation? But I'm not in that world, Dean, to be honest with you. A decent dry goods supplier will hopefully talk you through that, mate. I really can't shed any advice on it in the slightest. Evening, Ricky. Loving the videos. Thank you. Got to get some koi food. Thanks for sharing knowledge, Ricky. Absolute pleasure. Tom, I've got a few Sakai Showa Tosai that I've lost Benny, but are fantastic looking Shiros now. There we go, mate. Every cloud. Evening, Aaron. Humber Koi, good evening. Say good evening. I'm into hour and 10 minutes. I better wrap it up soon, folks. Let me just have a quick through, see if there's anything in particular that we've not really covered. Sonny Banks here, good evening. My God, we've had a lot of input on this one tonight. Just there, Keith, just generally saying, I think people try and keep too clean. Absolutely agree with that one. It's an ecosystem, and my whole approach is interfere as little as possible, but with good, you know, capacity there. And I just find that certainly with fluid beds, the ecosystem that they develop is phenomenal and very self-sustaining. You know, and EA's got all the research on that. Not only that, in the deeper layers of sort of biofilm, these rotifers that develop that then start consuming particles and generally looking after the water. The more you interfere, the more it does seem to fuck things up. It really is the case. Hey, Ricky, what's your current favourite koi in your possession? I really can't answer that one, mate. That changes day to day to day, although you will see a video coming soon. That's big news, actually, isn't it? I forgot to share. The Black Zeus. The Black Zeus has gone. And I might actually, just to wrap up, I might be able to ping you a video of this. Mr. Neil, he must be tuned in from Sunnybank. Came to pay me a visit the other day and really upset me because not only did he rob another current fish that's one of my favourites in my possession, but he decided that it was time for the big male Black Zeus to have a new home. And after some intense negotiations, I finally got his hands on it. So still with me for a little while, but I believe it's going to be heading over to Sunnybank this autumn sometime. Although when Neil does leave him, he does like to leave him with me just to get a little bit more on him. I've noticed that pattern. Right, bear with me a second because I'm sure you'll love to see this. Don't actually know if there's any audio effing and jeffing on this. Who knows? But right, let's have a look, folks. Just look at him. What a beast. Absolutely. You can get thanks for measuring up. And that seam is just trying to break on their head as well. It's going to be a phenomenal touch. And when you saw how white I got that head as well before the kind of growing season kicked off again. Bonkers. But yeah, stay tuned because you'll be able to have a trip over. As long as we don't stash it in this fish farm, but you'll be able to have a trip over there when it's there and actually see this phenomenal fish in the flesh. It's still only 3.5 years old, I think. Madness. Absolute madness. I am the ice cream man's best customer. Absolutely. Although actually recently I've been Ben and Jerry's best customer. That's a habit I need to kick. Crazy. Folks, anyway, I think I am. Yes, the Black Zeus is absolutely stunning. I'm glad to saw Neil's thing there. Oh, there we go. Look. Love to see young Ricky learn his trade. There we go. I'll dig a few of them out for a future episode. And Nigel, get your old man on here about the past. Yeah, good luck with that one. Right, he did actually just text me though. Bear in mind, for a cheeky plug his new goldfish. To be fair, do check it out if you're a fancy goldfish keeper. Westview fancies his latest shipment that he picked up in Thailand. I went down for a look yesterday, I think, day before. Oh my god. Needless to say, funnily enough, I've just set the tank back up in my office, so if it doesn't end up with Tamasaba in it, I might be going for a bit of shopping down there. There's some bonkers stuff, so yes, check it out. There we go. Jason, I'll let you end with that one. Well done, Ricky. Congrats on 100, onwards and upwards. Till next time, everyone. And great episode. Thank you for staying on past the hour. Not a problem. It's because wife had some lovely food on me when I walked through the door, because otherwise I'd have withered and faded by now. But there we go, folks. Appreciate you all tuning in. Great numbers. And like I say, we're going to go for there again. Congrats on the 100. Yeah, appreciate all the love for that, guys. So, yeah, next week. I'll say not next week. I'll be back next week. But yeah, this week's, let's say, the 100th celebration giveaway I was going to do. We're going to roll it over into a bit of a jackpot when I've got these other announcements ready. So yeah, there we go. I hope to see you all next week for episodes 101. Let's see, I can absolutely use this at getting this overlay for the end. Thanks for tuning in, guys.